Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome on this daylight, well, not daylight saving time anymore.
No,
Eastern Standard
Eastern.
Time. Real time now.
No, that is a satellite time.
It's a real
Eastern
time.
Standard
Yeah,
Time.
man.
I bet you don't know that.
Non-drama. Which country you come from, brother? Don't forget that tongue, you don't know much. Welcome. Welcome to another episode of Sunday Scoops, and today we're going to be presenting the big man, and it was really big for showing up.
Big guy in a
Bunny
bunny.
Striker Lee.
Hold on, me notice you don't respond to that. You mean that bigger than you in the box.
Everybody bigger than
No, but seriously, Bonnie Striker Lee is one of the biggest names, in my opinion, in the Jamaican music.
one.
Yeah, that's what I said. One of, you know, he may not have been there in the
Early stages.
the beginning stages of the Jamaica, man, I say at the startup, but considering his contribution, his his involvement with Jamaican music is absolutely significant. And so this evening we want to pay some tribute to the great Bonnie Striker Lee. What was the name? His mother did christen him O'Sullivan. I wondered if it was a Irishman.
But
Edward O'Sullivan Lee.
So it means to be a Chinese, Irish, Jamaica.
And he was born in he was born on August 23rd of 1941. A Jamaican in every sense of the word. And today,
Yeah, he might be 82 if he was alive.
if he was still around,
Passed away 2 years ago. I think last month was his anniversary, or was it September? September.
it was
The
September.
anniversary of his death. So at the time, I think Igbo had passed. I think shortly afterwards, so we had planned on doing a redo, but we decided to just do the Igbo Cooper thing and then present today.
Yeah, he died on October 6th of
Yeah, I figured last month.
yeah, that's and as you say, he would have been pushing into 81.
82.
That's so long?
41 from 23, 82.
No, wait. 2020 then. Yeah, 82. But we're gonna peel back the onions on his career and share with the listeners.
Well, for those of you who don't know, Bonnie Lee is not an artist. Him is not a musician. Him is not, well, he later became an arranger. Him is not an engineer, but him is what Richie has coined the phrase,
a briefcase
producer, which means that him is man of no fixed address. Him bounce from studio to studio. Anyway, can make the deal, anyway, can get the artist to do the tune. But one thing is certain though, he has an ear for a hit. And when I go down the line of songs, that a lot of them have made it into the annals of some of the greatest music ever produced on Jamaica. You're talking about songs like Bangarang, My Conversation, Wet Dream, Barbed Wire.
Before you even go down the list, because here's the thing that I found significant with him, is his ability to spot talent.
Yeah, man.
Because it's easier you name the artist than the song because you're gonna be here the whole day. But him open the door for people like Stranger Cole, Woman or Banger.
A man like Max Romeo, who used to be a record salesman.
Yeah.
And I threatened Max Romeo, say, yo, you better sing that tune and don't come back to work tomorrow.
My Conversation, Slim Smith, the Johnny Clark,
yeah, man.
I-Rai,
yeah, man.
Cornell Campbell, what the other one name? Al Campbell, Cornell Campbell,
Al Capone, him produced Cherry O Baby, Brethren. This man.
He also produced Pat Kelly, produced people
Delroy Wilson,
like Delroy Wilson,
Cool
Dennis
Operator,
Al
have some
Capone, Eric
mercy.
Donaldson,
Yeah,
John
man.
Holt. So, you know, listen, hold on, Paul.
This
Steve,
is
good.
going to be more music intensive. As you know, man, you love internet music intensive. And rich enough talk, you love playing music.
Yeah, come, like I said. Let's get a listen as a taste.
Well, we're going to start out this afternoon with one of the first songs he produced, and it was done in 1967, which would have been 56 years ago, and is a song named Listen to the Music with Lloyd Jackson and the Groovers.
Listen to the music, sweet reggae music beat. You know, he began his life in the entertainment business as a dancer. You know that?
Yeah, man.
Right? That he used to dance on the talent thing.
Virgin's talent show.
Virgin's talent show.
And because it wasn't just Virgins alone. Virgins was a big one. But he was a regular, which is all come he would have connected with people like Stranger Cole and the whole of them, because they were all
Young boys
trying them things.
going out, everybody want bust, everybody want to become famous.
And the talent show circuit was basically the portal that brought him in. And then on top of that, no, this was a time when the sound system was the entertainment vehicle for, you know, ordinary people in Jamaica. Man, they can't go no glass bucket club and put on a suit and things. So them go them sound system dance. And he, as a regular follower in the sound system, and it did help that apparently Derek Morgan did take a shine to his sister, right? And so Derek Morgan it would, you know, ultimately became his brother-in-law.
Derek Morgan worked as A&R for Leslie Beverly's.
Right. This was 1960, the midnight, early to mid 1960s. That's correct. And so, as a dancer, as a sound brevery, a man will follow up. So,
yeah, man.
him kind of get us ears now for the kind of music that people like, and him do a little record selling too, you know, when they,
and it was also what you call a plugger.
Right.
So
plug the record.
Go on to the radio station them.
And the dance.
And give the DJs or the people. At the time, they never used to be called disc jockey, it's to call radio announcer.
Right.
So they give the radio announcer the record and, you know, and say, play this. And then after a while, I think they kind of gain control over the guys at the radio station. And because of that now, they are able to fix the charts as to what people are listening to.
A long time this man do the thing about the music charts.
But if a hit is a hit, I can't stop it. I mean, look on Shaggy record, it wasn't me, you know, and you know, the list goes on.
Yeah, but this is the door through which he came, and 1960, the music is kind of changing. He talked about it in his book, Lloyd Bradley, who had interviewed him. He said when the music started to switch from ska
into
rocksteady, he said what happened is the ska business, the music fast and everybody thing, and then him say he had a well-known bad man, can't remember his name now, but a big time bad man.
So come in a dance, dress up in a shorts.
Yeah, he said the man will come and him have a fields of girl with him,
no,
you know.
A bevy of beauties.
No, man, the Jamaican man say fields of girl.
Bevy of beauties.
And him say, I still remember it came to me a while ago, but him say, anyway, this man decides boy, the music kind of too fast, you know, so era.
But after rock steady.
We're just rock steady to them.
And that is just one story around why being rock steady. Because another person gives reference to Lynn Tate, who said that he had fast calypso and slow calypso, and in Jamaica everything was one speed, fast.
Yeah, but
so they tried to slow the music down and
with name take it easy. Hooked
Yeah,
on
Hotel
Lewis.
Lewis.
Yeah, but according to um
Bunny
Bunny,
Striker, yes.
Bunny said the bad man now decides when people say you used to have some slow ska, not the fast
Well,
ska.
out of deference for that, the producers started slowing down songs
Yeah,
like Papa Top and them kind of song.
but
But
him say,
after a while,
specifically though, this ska, them say my bad man, them feel bad man, brethren come at the dance and him go right up against the selector, you know, and them say, boy, watch out. I have my white suit in them, and I don't know what about sweating things. So you have to play some easy tune. And him know him just stand up there and just barely a rock and thing, and then all of the crowd, because the bad man and them set the tone and them set the crowd and watch
to
it.
this day, it's the same thing. You go to any dance right now, and if you notice, there's a group of man where dance, and them set the tone.
Yeah, man. So him say the same brother, him start just easy and
That's why I'm rocking steady.
So boy, right, I just a rock steady, And so it kind of signal the DJ, for start to play some slower tune. Them say, by the time, some American soul tune start filter through in Jamaica, and the soul man them have some of them tune there, so them start put on the slower tune, and that
Prompted the
prompted
producers.
now, and him as a briefcase producer where go all of the dance and realize about an opportunity exists here for some slower tune. And him start to reach out. Roy Shirley was the next man that he lost for Roy Shirley and bring him in. And him had there are a couple of them. Roy Shirley, but Slim Smith and Roy Shirley during this period.
Yeah, during that time, Slim Smith was along with the Techniques as a group, and then he broke away and started the Uniques, and this is when he did a lot of work with Slim Smith and the Uniques. But the music with Roy Shirley that kind of helped to jumpstart Roy Shirley's career was a song called Music Field.
Music Field.
I don't get
All right, so you heard Music Field by Roy Shirley, Background, which was a cover version of, or using the melody from Kenny Grimes' Afro-Cubists called Bongo Chant, which was done in 1953. Background was done in the 60s. Foley Jack, Derek Morgan, and then the same rhythm. And let me tell you that this guy, Bunny Striker Lee, was one of the first person to do variations on a rhythm.
Yeah.
And this was done in 1969. So what people are thinking is something from the 70s
or the 80s.
and 80s. Yeah. This are going way before that. Thanks to
I think
Bunny Striker.
I think if more is to be said, God, making up a rhythm, laying a rhythm track is not an inexpensive undertaking, even in the mid to late 1960s.
Well,
I mean, you put a band together,
musicians.
right?
They have to book
studio time, and remember, plus even a briefcase studio.
And then sometimes when you book studio time, you have to pay for the engineer separately.
Right. And then depending on the tune you do, you might need some what you call them, backup singers and things.
Although sometimes the music groups are there just for the
fun
of
it. Just do it for the fun. Yeah. But the fact is,
put
it a rhythm.
Yeah, smalls, man.
Yeah, man. Give me a little thing.
Smalls, man.
We make your thing bigger. But more importantly, it showed his own astuteness, right? Because if you have a rhythm that a man out there write tune and
you spend £300.
Yeah. And you can get 3-4 tune, and especially if them hit. One of the reasons why they call him striker, right? Is that within the fraternity, it was said he knew when a song was going to be a hit. So striker is that him strike when put out a tune, the tune always become a hit. So he basically say them saying strike.
You alluded to it earlier. A lot of people don't know this man was a big sound system.
Yes.
This man used to be in the dance hall So he knew, in the lawn, as it were. So he knew what people were listening to. He knew what the requests were. He saw what people responded to in a positive way.
And he basically brought that into his own craft. Plus, he had a pretty solid eye for talent, right? That was another thing because look at Max Romeo, Lie Down Girl. Max Romeo,
Wet dream.
yeah.
And that was not for airplay back in the time too.
But the tune still became a big tune.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it even made that box set that we talked about all the while that Island put out.
Oh yes, the history of
story
of Jamaican music. And
from
that
steady to dancehall.
That collection is about easily about 40 years old.
No, 30 something. It came out in around 92, 93.
Then 40 years that.
No, sir.
Anyway, KC,
30 years. Yeah, you never do maths or English.
History. History and maths. But seriously, this was again him putting all of his experiences, you know, him is a showman coming from him like a dancing thing and with him concert. And coming from those talent contests, him spot a man who look like a man who have a good singing voice.
Yeah,
and
but
so
Max has always been asking him to be produced, you know, but he was a record salesman. Yeah. And then he wanted the song.
Tell us the story.
Artist to sing the song, but that artist wasn't available. And them go to the studio, and the only person around was Max Romeo. So man said, listen, it's either you sing that song, and man said, no, boss, even though you produce me, I can't sing that song. He said, no, you have to sing the song or don't come back and work tomorrow morning. And he said, what happened now is that he took the song and they went to Studio One and they waited until Sir Coxon went to the bathroom and then quickly did the recording. And then when by the time Coxon come, the recording done. And the man said, what kind of music that you not record in the studio? No man, wipe the tape. The man said, boss, can't wipe the tape, you know. The man said, all right, well, you have to pay me for the session right now and leave. So the song wasn't even the cut that he wanted because that wasn't even the proper cut. I didn't put it on the B side of another song and sent it off to Palmer Records in England. And then they took the chance and push out the tune. And then before that now, the man became an overnight sensation. That even Max Romeo went to England way before that. They had a big artist them to perform. And then all of a sudden, all the other salesman them and everybody who used to hang around the studio who was afraid to sing. Besides, they don't want to sing now because Max Romeo became an overnight sensation.
Listen, the stories that exist behind Jamaican music, you know, when we talk about we talk about Jamaican music and you know the tendency is that we jump out on the singers and things, but the behind the scenes because Bonnie Lee is a story. Bonnie Lee is a volume or several volumes of stories.
Yes, and he took chance. And one of the things that I loved about like the next song that I'm gonna play before we go to the break, that they took chances where, as him said, at the time when they were taking the chance, people think that I'm a madman, but him said, if you're not mad, you're not gonna take the chance when you take. And people like him and Lee Scratch Perry, who he worked with on this song, and 90 the Observer, that was before 90 broke away, you know, did this song. And it was off
but hold on, I did about 90. 90 come from the same
studio man.
There was a man who helped set up the box, go sell record, go collect money, and you know, all of them come through the same channel. And Bonnie Lee decides, boy. But you know, Bonnie Lee realized these guys are there. They have committed them time. Him said 90 cut out, they lose one of them finger. Which is what them call him 90. 90.
Right.
Chop off his finger. Him said 90 was a man who was always available. And him don't refuse anything. And we give him a little thing for do, him gone. And him said the man showed commitment, you know, even when other people who had more resources were not willing to take certain chances, them guys were prepared to do it. They're never big, You know, 'cause Nine
Right.
created a label we call the Observer
Right.
label. It wasn't a Cox nor a Bunny Lee, but he made his own mark as well.
One of the good things is that he wrote a song for Dennis Brown, which is one up to this day when Dennis Brown passed away. And also a lot of DJs, they will start their latter half of their set in a party with Dennis Brown. Here I come. Well, let's take a break, Richie, and then come back and we'll talk about that song.
Listen.
And that was Take Five from the Dave Brubeck Quartet. That was the original. Bunny Lee under the auspices of Val Bennett, one of big saxophone player. And the Russians are coming, that's what they called it. This rhythm then at the time spawned
Only a big tune.
yeah, but the biggest tune out of this was Jacob Miller.
Never give the power
to a ballad man, the Georgia Rastaman. Standing Firm is the name of that song. But he said that when they were doing the song, the Russians are coming, people thought they were crazy. But they said, listen, any song can turn ska or reggae. It's just you feel the right musicians and the timing perfect.
And he might Sly and Robbie with this.
Yes.
But I want to go back a little bit because the Russians are coming. Remember we talk about this all the time, God. You want to know what's going on in Jamaica?
Listen to the
music. This was
1969,
69, 70. A number of things happened. The Cuban Revolution just finished less than 10 years earlier. And the whole red thing.
And we're getting into the
communist
Cold War
thing
now.
And the Cold War. The Cold War just now, the Cold War broke right after the Second World War done. But in the Caribbean and the Americas, Cuba had been successful in terms of the revolution, and the United States wanted to ensure that there was no spread of this communist influence within the wider Caribbean, especially after the fact
we have a penchant for rebelling.
Right, and so the thinking was that the Russians were going to, because they had established a base in Cuba, right. And the feeling was they were going to be looking at Jamaica as well. And so that is what drive the creation of that music. And again, what the song say? What you say the song name? The Russians are coming. And it tells you this is Jamaican music giving an indication of what is happening out on the street. The psyche of the people, or the social, economic, and political situation that is taking place on the street. Again, there's just a genius of Bunny Lee, and taking his own thought process and pushing it forward. As he said, this is most studio would never play this tune, right?
At the time, it wasn't, because again, we're creatures of habit, and if something in most cases work, like you see it in the socio-economic situation in Jamaica, where you'll go into a district and 50 people live in a district and you have 50 shops. Because one man open a shop and it works.
It's a Me Too. It's a Me Too thing.
Yes.
Which is what characterized the development of the music.
So he just basically worked with what he had, and he worked with that. Good thing about it that whenever he went to any studio at all, and he seemed to be an affable person too. So he made friends wherever he went.
People like him, and he liked people. Something that was missing, because in that late 60s period, just as he was very opened the door.
He was very active.
Absolutely, and on top of that, God, apart from him, his own pursuit of creating music, he was also he was one of the first Jamaicans to go to England and
strike a deal with the
establish distribution arrangements.
He had that label called Unity. So it was a black fist shaking a white fist over some mountains.
Right.
And that signaled the cooperation between him and Palm Records. And those guys built their empire around distributing Jamaican music. He gives a lot of credit to Chris Blackwell too, in terms of taking the music, and it talks about how much the guys in England who are businessmen who were investing. Yes, they were making money, and yes, some people say them get robbed up, but as far as he's concerned, they did so much for, you know, marketing the Jamaican music phenomena across Europe, more so than what was evident in the United States, which is a lot closer.
One of the other elements of that too is, as you said, this was no rock steady creeping into reggae, if you will, right?
And you can hear that in the Take Five, and this was 1969. You can hear
So
that
the
in that
music is
Russian
changing.
coming. You
Music
can
is changing.
hear, and I'll play it again. You can hear the distinct reggae beat. You can hear the rubber dubbing of that Richard.
Musician,
hear the rubber dubbing. And this was 1968, 69.
Yeah.
And 1968, 69, well, from his first production in 67, is that he never stopped. It's like this man, there was probably about 35 hours in a for him day. Because you're talking about working with Val Bennett, Winston Wright, going all over the place. And then
Sly and
when
Robbie.
the talent came, Sly and Robbie came in the mid 70s.
Right.
You know, mid to or so 70s, even though a little bit earlier, like 1969, 1970, Sly had done that song with Ansel and Dave Barker.
Yeah.
Ansel Collins and Dave Barker.
Dave Barker.
And that song. Was it Return Django? No, that was
No,
Double Barrel.
Double Barrel.
Yeah. So he discovered, well, not really discovered, because Slim Smith was around with the Techniques, and then when they disbanded and he
From the
created
Uniques.
the Uniques, he did a slew of hits with Slim Smith. I'm talking about songs like
My Conversation.
My Conversation, Everybody Needs Love, Ain't Too Proud to Beg. And he said, Ain't Too Proud to Beg is what created that, coined the term version, because U-Roy at the time now was the man who used to do specials for them. And then one day they went, after they did about 6 or so variations of Ain't Too Proud to Beg, some with horns, some without horns, and they got to U-Roy, and U-Roy say, another version again? And from that, and he didn't even realize that they were going to now put it on the back of the records and call it version. But interestingly, I think we have talked about how the whole dub thing came about. Again, because him and King Tubby's in the studio.
He is a critical part of the whole dub genre, which we don't pay enough attention. We don't treat it as a genre.
We talk about King Tubby's, and we talk about the harmonica guy there,
Augustus Pablo.
Yeah.
But it started with Bonnie Lee.
Melodica, not harmonica, melodica.
Bonnie was always looking for
the next song.
The cutting edge of the development of the music.
And to talk about looking for the next sound, he talked about a song that nobody talked about, but is a song what them call the Jankro Skank.
Jankro Skank.
And the sound that he called a Jankro Skank, and the record that he named specifically for that was two songs in particular, Duppy Conqueror and also Mr. Brown. And it said that what happened is that the organ in Harry J's was playing out of phase, and whenever the guy do like a run on the keys, it just kind of phase out. So you had to go in and
you had to flop over
the keys. And so because of that now, they developed this dance with the shoulder like the Jankro come into the dead meat and pull back and
yeah, but so what happened to is
it was him.
What name who played the organ?
Winston, right? Was it? No, it was Winston.
It was Winston. It was
Glenn Adams.
Glenn Adams. Him said Glenn Adams was actually a piano player, and he was not very happy initially to take to switch instrument.
Mm-hmm.
But Glenn had a disability because Glenn had suffered from polio, and him said the polio thing kind of gave him some encumbrance in terms of him being able to float all over the keys of the piano. but his style would suit the organ, right? And him said him switch him from the organ. Plus the organ had this deficiency, and so him had this flipping thing with him hand. And flip over the key, which is where the John Cross
And
tip from
flop
it.
it.
Yeah.
So the two songs that I'm going to present to you are songs which I wouldn't say he was a producer, but it had that sound because at the time Lee Scratch Perry was a producer along with the Aggravators on Duppy Conqueror and the other song, Mr. Brown, that gives you that John Cross Skank feel.
Hi there. If you enjoyed that clip, go on over to our website at yardmedia.com where you can watch the entire broadcast at your leisure. And while you're there, why don't you check out our other reggae music features? And before you leave, pick up some of our Jamaican reggae merchandise, and hey, don't forget to tell your friends.